Hey, friends, happy Take Action Tuesday. And I hope that's the mindset that you enter into this day full of limitless opportunities and possibilities with the mindset that you can take action towards your goals, that this can be the day that you take action towards your dreams. And today we're going to be talking about something super special today. We're going to be talking about make it bigger, the agriculture of lasting strength. So we're going to really be saying why you keep starting over and how to finally stay consistent. Who here would like to finally stay consistent when it comes to their goals? Who here would finally like to be consistent when it comes to their dreams? And that's exactly what we're going to be focusing on today is how to become more consistent towards our goals, towards our dreams. And most importantly, today we're going to be talking about health. I think many times, we entered in this year with the intention that this is going to be the year that things change, but maybe we found ourselves at this second quarter of the year falling back to some of those old habits, those old patterns, those things that are no longer serving us and necessarily going to move us in the direction that we are looking for to achieve in our lives. So I'm excited today to talk about our topic today. We're talking about, yes, that agriculture of lasting health. Because I believe that, when it comes to our health, many times we've heard of the health as wealth, but also health, I believe, gives us that driving force to have more endurance when things get hard. When our health is in line, I realized that when my health is in line, it was a lot easier for everything else to start to line up too as well. And so that's exactly why I'm super excited to be here with you today. But most importantly, give you an opportunity to have some clarity in the direction of your life. Because I realized for a long time for myself, I was simply guessing, hoping, wishing, dreaming to get to the destination that I was seeking. But I realized that I kept finding myself setting a new goal every Monday, setting a new goal every month, and wondering why I couldn't stay consistent. And that's the goal today. The goal today is to really figure out how to be more consistent. When it comes to your goals and dreams, how would you being more consistent change your life? I want you to think about that. I want this to not just be a conversation, but a workshop where we're actually intentionally moving forward towards the things we're looking to achieve today. And I want you to think about that. How would my life be different if I had to stop starting over? At this point of the year, when it comes to the thing you were looking to achieve, mainly at the beginning of the year, right, is probably the biggest health reevaluation ever is January 1st, right? The new year hits. We're all setting those health goals. But I was always hearing that, January 31st is the day where most people's health goals fall to the wayside. And it's, I believe, because we fall into our old patterns. And today we're going to talk about how to stop starting over, but most importantly, how to start being more consistent. Who here would and realize that if I had more consistency in my life, who here would like to stop starting over? Who here would like to have more clarity in the direction that they're looking to achieve when it comes to their goals and dreams? And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to go into our first little slide here. I like it because it says, hey, it's the architecture of lasting health. Why you keep starting over and how you finally stay consistent. That's what I'm excited for you today. Excited for you to figure out why you keep starting over. Most importantly, how to stay more consistent. And so we're going to go into our first little slide here. It says you keep starting over because you are a spirit. You are sprinting a marathon. I need you to hear that today. You keep starting over because you are sprinting a marathon. I really want you to let that sink in. You keep finding yourself starting over because you're trying to sprint a marathon. And I'm coming back to my main theory, because I finally ran my first half marathon. I haven't run a marathon, so I'm not coming from you with marathon experience, but I am coming to you with a half a marathon experience. And the thing that, I knew if I would have went straight out of the gate with this sprint, I knew I wouldn't have made it. And I want you to think about your goals. I want you to think about the beginning of this year when you we're preparing yourself to make this the year where things change, were you prepared for the marathon? Or were you preparing for the 100-meter dash? Are you treating your goals like something you're going to sprint towards? Or are you treating your goals as something that you realize consistency, action, ownership is going to get us there? And I really love this quote. It says, you feel powerful for the first mile, then you crash, all or nothing health. I love this. The all or nothing health routines prioritize intensity over sustainability. And I want you to think about your goals and dreams this year when it comes to your health goal. Have you been prioritizing the intensity and not so much the sustainability? Because I love how it says, our 1, 2, 3 steps here. It says, you build the perfect week on paper, right? Then step 2, life disrupts the perfect week. Then we get step 3, right? You abandon the plan entirely. And step 4, you wait until Monday to try again. How many of us find ourselves in that cycle? How many of us, when we entered this year, entered into this month, entered into this goal we were looking to achieve, did we have that built? Did we build that routine? How many of us built that big routine at the beginning of the year, right? Like, it's that big routine. And then life came and disrupted it. Maybe it was your family, a sickness, an illness, a new job. So you find yourself abandoning the plan entirely. Can you find yourself on what spectrum are you at here when it comes to your goals and dreams? Because I think clarity is the best way to move in the right direction. It's the best way to remove the guessing game, but getting us moving forward to where we're looking to achieve. And I love this framework here. It says, you aren't failing. Your operating system is failing. And that's okay. If you're going to leave this workshop, this talk with anything, I need you to hear this. You aren't failing. Your operating system is failing. And I want you to think about that. Many people are like, maybe this was the year where you're like, Sam, I set the goal again, and I feel like I'm starting all over again. And maybe you've been operating off of this same system, waiting to the beginning of the year to set your goals, waiting to the beginning of the year to set your dreams. But I want you to realize that it's not you, it's your operating system. And I want to show you the 2 operating systems of health. We're going to go through a different mindset. We have mindset, the catalyst, the pacing, and the driver here. But our default system says this: perfectionism. Do it all or don't do it all. How many of us have heard that? If you're not going to do it right, don't do it at all. And I think many of us are going into our goals and our dreams that exact same way. We're looking for the perfect formula for everything to be perfect. And if I can't do it right, I'm not going to do it at all. Or maybe you're searching for the catalyst. You're hoping for motivation. You're waiting until you feel ready. And how many of us have been waiting to feel ready and that feeling never come? Waiting to feel ready and that feeling never being there. Or maybe when it comes to the default system is sprinting, you push harder, ignore the pain, and you're just like, pain equals weakness leaving the body. You're entering into your goals like you're a Marine, and you're saying no pain, no gain. And then the pain comes and there's no gain, and you keep finding yourself in pain with no gain, and then you fall off and you're starting over and you're giving up. Or maybe you're looking for the driver, and the driver is fear. So you say, I hate my body, so I must change. I want you to hear that today. Maybe you're saying, I hate my body, so I must change. And many of us have been, working off of that same system. that default system, that perfectionism mindset, that waiting for motivation, treating life as a sprint, and being driven by fear. But today I want to talk about alignment. Because see, I believe when we have alignment, we remove the resistance. Because when it comes to our mindset, we're looking for a rhythm. And when it comes to the mindset that I want you to look at, where the alignment says, do what I can, sustain. I want you to hear that today. Not doing what feels good for me. Not pushing through the pain, but not waiting till everything's perfect. But do what I can sustain. And when you hear that, I want you to look at your goals this year, the challenges you maybe have had to overcome, some of the things you're moving towards this year. Are you doing what you can sustain? Because stretching is good, stretching equals growth, but if you can't sustain it over a long time, you cannot reap the rewards. And I think many of us find ourselves in opportunities, challenges, and places where we aren't willing to sustain the hard seasons enough to reap the rewards that we're looking for. And I love the catalyst here in the alignment system because it comes down to identity. You know, in the default system, we're waiting for motivation, but I love that when we move from alignment, we are moving from identity. It says, instead of I'm waiting for motivation to feel ready, it says, act like the person I am becoming. I need you to hear that today. Act like the person I'm becoming. And let that be the catalyst of the questions and your thoughts that you have. Like instead of waiting for motivation, I say, I identify myself as being someone successful. What would someone successful be doing with the time that they have at this moment? And act like that. Not wait to be like that, not hope to be like that, but act from that. And then I love the pacing because pacing comes from, instead of it being a sprint, we're thinking of the long game, right? Recover so I can continue. Not thinking I have to earn recovery, but know that I can recover just so I can continue to move that needle forward. And then instead of our driver being fear, saying that I hate my body, so I must change, we let love be the driver. We let love be the one holding on the steering wheel of our life and saying, I honor my body, so I choose better. I want you to hear that today. I honor my body, so I choose better. And when you hear those patterns, that system, which one have you been operating from? Have you been operating from fear? Or are you operating from love? Are you saying, I want to be healthy because I hate my body, or I want to be healthy because I love myself to honor this body? And I think this is a great moment of reflection, of clarity, and of growth. And I want you to take this time to reflect on these. I don't just want this to be something you hear. I want this to be something you implement. And I want to go over this with you again. How can we implement these? Realizing that we don't have to wait for the perfect moment. We don't have to, we have to realize that the default system of do it all or nothing is not going to lead us towards the destination that we were looking to seek. It's time to start doing what we can sustain and move in alignment. It's time to realize that motivation doesn't have to be the only catalyst for growth, but that we can make our identity. We can choose to be and act like the person we are becoming. But most importantly, realize that life isn't about a sprint. Life isn't always about pushing hard, ignoring the pain. But it's about realizing that longevity, that realizing that I can recover so I can continue. So I want you to realize that today. that not only are you not failing, but most importantly, that you've been operating as the wrong system. And that it's time for you to not only choose differently, but to realize you deserve more. And that can be the choice that you make today. Making that choice that I will not only decide to move from alignment, but I will move with strength. I will move with joy. I will move with knowing that I deserve more because I can be more. So make that choice today. Make that choice to make growth a priority. But most importantly, I want you to evaluate your operating system. If you feel stuck, if you feel behind, most importantly, I want you to know that it's not over. It's not over. This day is a gift. And you don't have to wait till next week to start again. Today can be the day you take action. But most importantly, make today the day you take ownership. Take care.